Good afternoon and welcome. Tammy Rosario, force her to
Here she comes.
I really want Tammy to do this, but she's insisting that I'm the one to welcome her. We're very, very, very pleased to celebrate the power of women. That's why Tammy should do this.
Noted.
Yeah,
but see, she made you do it.
Yeah. This is the exercise. I am doing it because Tammy told me to do it. So this is national or global? Global Entrepreneur Week. Get a clue. And we're SyracuseCoE. We're pleased to participate in Global Entrepreneur Week. We have a monthly program we call Research and Technology Forums. It's brought to the community through our partner program. Tammy leads our partner program, and I'll learn more about it. See Tammy. So we're really pleased to offer our monthly Research and Technology Forum on the power of women. And to guide us through this program, I'm very pleased to introduce Cindy Oehmigen, who is the Director of Energy and Corporate Services at the Manufacturers Association of Central New York. If you don't know about MACNY, the Manufacturers Association of Central New York, it's a great, great resource. So they have a great new magazine, Central Upstate MFG Manufacturing, and great stories about local manufacturers. Start with the end. Cindy has earned her bachelor's of science in industrial and management engineering from the University of Iowa. and then she's drawn to Central New York and has earned an MBA from Syracuse University. Cindy is a leader recognized for guiding organizations through change, creating team environments, reducing costs, and developing staff potential. Put this in here, with over 30 years of diversified manufacturing and engineering experience. We started when we were 10. In union and non-union settings, she has experience in lean plant layout, methods design and improvements, new product development, new production, warehouse system design, and capital project management. Cindy's consulted with more than 100 companies on lean manufacturing, tech transfer, problem solving, organizational development, project management, business startup, marketing, environmental, and quality control. Providing clients with connection to Clarkson, Cornell, Syracuse University, RPI, Lemoyne, Oswego State, and Onondaga Community College. Cindy's a great person to know if you have an idea for a new product. So without further ado, I'm going to please introduce Cindy Oehmigen and ask her to guide us through this afternoon's program.
Thrilled to be able to do this because all of the things that I've done in my career, I love working with entrepreneurs. It's so much fun to help get a company stood up and successful and find resources to help them get past some of the challenges they're going to see. So because of that, one of the things that we have asked our three panelists to talk about today is to kind of tell us their story about the companies that they have started or are in now. What are some of the successes and what sort of resources did they leverage to get those successes? And also, what were the challenges that they faced and what kind of things did they do to try to get beyond those? And after each speaker, we'll have a little bit of Q&A, and at the very end, we'll have some more Q&A. So we purposely put these in a particular order. We have someone who is just starting a company. We have one of our speakers who has had a company and has moved on to other things, and one who has had a couple of different companies and is still doing that. So it kind of gives you the timeline to think about as you're listening to them speak. So with that, we're going to start with Amanda. How do that translate? Sorry. And Amanda is pursuing a bachelor's degree in public relations at Newhouse in political science at the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs. You're busy. And she's also the Chief Marketing Officer for Thrive Projects Incorporated. It is a university startup, I would say, right? That I could explain it, but I'd rather have you talk about what is the mission and what does the company do, and then give us your story about how you got there. She's also, let's see, we're part of the Thrive team that represented Syracuse University at this prestigious 2017 Hult Prize competition at the recent Clinton Global Initiative University in Boston, and she is a Blackstone LaunchPad Global Media Fellow at Syracuse University. So please welcome Amanda.
Hi everyone. All right, I'm so excited for this. Okay, so just checking if this works. Yes, it does. All right. Hi everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Amanda. I am the Chief Marketing Officer at Thrive Projects. I'm also a student. I sometimes forget, but I study public relations and political science at Syracuse University. And I'm also the president of Thrive at SU, which is a registered student organization, a branch of Thrive Projects. I'm a global media fellow at Blackstone LaunchPad at SU. And I think above all, I'm a storyteller. I love telling stories. I love taking something very ordinary and trying to make it as extraordinary as possible. I love making things visual. I love just telling a good story because I think human beings we all have so many, and I think that telling them meaningfully is something really special. So, but I mean, today I want to talk about myself, but also really want to talk about something more fun. This is Thrive Project. I'm going to let you take a look at these pictures. I took most of them. Some of them I didn't take, but these all take place in the fall, and this is where Thrive Projects work, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in a second. Today we're going to be focusing more on the track that, of course, clean energy, the track of solar energy that we work in. So what does Thrive Projects do? Thrive Projects is a 501c3 that develops sustainable community-based solutions through customized vocational training programs and proper utilization of local resources. These are a lot of big words, but really all they mean is just, we love to teach. We believe that knowledge is power. And if we really want to help people, we should know that they need to retain this knowledge and make it scalable and actually adapt it into their own communities so they can empower their own communities. Here, though, before I get really started, so I really began with this incredible team, and Brian's sitting over here, he's the CEO of the company. Basically, these three guys, Josh, Ryan, and Brian, they began the team with this incredible mission because we went in the fall and we discovered that there's a huge need for solar energy and huge need for clean energy, really. Something that's more reliable than the national grid that has been problematic because of the 2015 Florida earthquake. So in 2015, this earthquake kind of shook through the fall, destroyed a lot of, infrastructure in Canada especially, and of course in rural areas as well. And this was especially problematic because as a developing country that's very much landlocked, to step back a lot of the development that was already going on. And so this earthquake was very much a huge barrier, and we decided that it was time for us to do whatever we could with the resources that we had to help people. So here's a little bit about what I do. I'm going to show you this little quick bit about this video that I made. Let's see. So just want to let you know, I'm not going to play the full video because I don't know if we have time for that. What's happening? Oh shoot, never mind. This is good. I want to let you guys know we had a drone this summer. It was super fun to play with. But yeah, we had a lot of fun just like surveying the land that we were working in. And all of the footage shot here, I shot myself with a camera, and I put this together with our videographer, Harry, who couldn't make it, but he's very talented. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Okay. Please, if you want to watch it, you should go check out our website and social media that I run. But anyways, let me just move on really quick. So a little bit about what I do is, as you can see, I create a lot of content. I create a lot of visual content. I create a lot of written content. I also run the social media platforms. So I run Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I create a lot of the stuff on the website as well. And a big part of my job is to, like I said, tell a fun and meaningful story. And so this really started, I guess, around my freshman year, at the end of in the middle of 2016. In the summer, I got a message from Brian and Ryan, who were in the hall, and they just rolled out the SPARK system. This, to me, was so new. The SPARK system actually stands for Solar-Powered Auxiliary Relief Kiosk, which is also a really big word for basically this magical box, as you can see here. Everything in this box, batteries, chargers, all of that is locally sourced, as we talked about in our mission. And when put together, you can connect it to a solar panel and then turn on the light. And the most beautiful thing about this box is that it's scalable and it's adaptable because you can build it anywhere in the world. The materials in it are widely found throughout many local markets around the world, and they're affordable, which is the most important part. So when you connect everything up together, we need a manual. So the students really wrote the manual, and I took it and I put some pictures in it, made it pretty-ish, and then printed out, developed it in English and Nepali, and we distributed that. And so a lot of people got to just follow the manual and build this system and scale it. Whatever they needed, they could basically use it for. You can use it to charge a phone, and you can also take out the box altogether and replace some of the things in there, and then hook it up to the street lamp, let it to the street. That's how incredible this SPARK system is. And so when I was a freshman, I had no idea what the heck solar energies were. And so when they told me this, I was so confused. I was like, what do you want me to write about? I have no idea what I'm learning. But then they made this so easy that someone like me, I have PR, I have no engineering background, nothing. I could understand this, and I could make this into something that everyone else can understand. And so I feel really happy and very proud to be part of this team back then, and I still am now. But quickly, what the SPARK system can do in the community. As you can see here, we target a lot of different types of people. So we have students in the city, we have older women from outside of the city as well. We also, as I said, we've taken the box apart, we've hooked it up to different, lights and all of that. We've actually powered schools too. And so this is so cool. And honestly, after a year of writing about this and creating videos, I was so blown away by the amount of impact that the SPARK system could create that I decided that it was so important for me to go to Nepal. And when I did go to Nepal this past summer, I met Wangyo. And his name is Wangyo, we call him Wangyo Dai. Dai means respected elder in Nepalese. And so this is Wangyo, he's very, very nice, very cool, very smart. He started off as one of our first SPARK students, and soon in the same summer that SPARK rolled out in summer 2016, he became an instructor because he was one of our star students, you would say. And after becoming an instructor, over a few months, we legally incorporated Nepal in Nepal, which is our first local subsidiary branch. He became the president of Nepal. And the one thing I love most about Wangyo is that when I went there and I met him, I was just like, wow, this is crazy. You're president now. This awesome company. And he was like, yeah, Amanda, I'm still a student. I'm still learning. And so I made this little infographic because I thought we really believe that knowledge is something that's rolling. Education is something that, you're never not a student. So I love this. And he's very, very awesome. To this day, he is an instructor. He also manages lunch programs. And he is just this powerhouse with passion and drive that I love. So a little bit, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. So this is a photo that I took in Janaki Bazar. This is a village in the Terai region. on the southern border of Nepal, about 30 minutes away from the Indian border. I took this, and you can see that not everyone was looking at me, and not everyone was smiling, because it took me like 5 minutes to take a photo, because I was holding a camera, but they had never seen a camera before. They were looking at me like, why am I smiling at this woman who doesn't look like us, who's pointing this weird contraption at me? And I had to tell them like over and over again, and very broken messages. Like, smile, it's happy or something. But honestly, these women are incredibly inspiring, and I look at this photo a lot. The spark system, at the end of the day, will turn on the lights in the dark. And this means that communities are safer, communities are more accessible, and it's just a better environment for children to grow up in, for women to exist in. And I think that seeing this with my own eyes and actually going and talking to these women have made me realize that we take a lot of lights for granted, and we take a lot of resources for granted. And I think that having this opportunity to interact with us and teach them about the importance of learning how to sustain a system is also very vital. And so not only did we install the spark system with over there, we also taught them how to maintain it and fix it in case something goes wrong, and in case they need to go to the town and get some more, parts of the system, all of that. So this is sustainability at work, you could say. And so Thrive has changed their lives, but also Thrive has changed my life in very big ways. In 2017, I did a lot. It was a huge year for me. It was really very exciting and very challenging. The first three, as you can see here, the Hult Prize, the I Prize, and the MIDC were business plan competitions. And the last one is the Clinton Global Entrepreneurship University Conference that I just took part in. Yeah, it was October. It was awesome. And yeah, in the Hult Prize, the first three, what I really learned was being an entrepreneur is really hard. You have to be a really good public speaker. I don't know if you can tell, I'm a little nervous right now, but it's okay. You have to be a good public speaker. You have to be able to engage a room with your slide, with your voice, with your story, and like people start drifting and you just have to keep, connecting all the time. And so being an entrepreneur is hard because you have 5 minutes to pitch this incredible idea and to very politely ask for money. And so you have to be charming, and you have to be poised, and you have to most of all be the smartest person in the room. And that's a big learning curve. And in all three of these different competitions, I learned different things about myself, about my team, and of course, like the spirit of entrepreneurship and how important it is to, I don't know, having a 501c3 is a little different, because when you have a for-profit company, you're coming at it at a different angle. But here, all we want to do is change lives. All we want to do is make other people life better, and to say that without being super cheesy, that's really interesting. Learn a lot. And during the Clinton Global Initiative University Conference, it was definitely not a business plan competition. It was more of a workshop scenario. It was really fun. I got to meet a bunch of really cool potential, global leaders. They were all very passionate about the lead. But yeah, it was really amazing. Pretty cool. But this year, this semester particularly, was very special for me because we launched the registered student organization, and that's on the SU campus. It's really what that means is just our student club. And so what we decided to do over the summer was bring the global mission of Thrive and bring it down to the local level in Syracuse. And as Cindy just said, we started in Syracuse. Our whole idea started in Syracuse, and we are very proud to be run by Syracuse alum and Syracuse students like myself. And so we decided, okay, let's get back to the community that affected us all. And so Thrive at SU works here on the ground with my, especially marginalized communities, and more directly, nonprofits that work for marginalized communities. Right now we're working with Interfaith Works, and there's Center for New Americans, and we organize a Thrive Together Fair each year. March 31st is here, mark your calendars. It's going to be very fun. And there's always a cultural celebration, dance and food, and very cool keynote speakers. We line the room with student organizations so that outside communities can get to know that as well. We work to bridge that because we believe that SU students are a huge resource here in the Syracuse community, and we have to tap into that. We have to do that for what we can. And by creating this type of model, this type of relationship, I think that the Thrive mission can get to work locally, and that's very special. Very important. So Thrive at SU, very cool time. I love it. I'm sitting right there. I got you. All right, so this is my team. There's two more guys up here, but this is my team. And as you can see, this is at the NIBDC. I'm the only woman in this picture, and I'm the only woman that works at our project currently. And I can tell you that it's very, very cool to work with guys. I think that, I know, all these women are laughing at, no, hear me out. The thing is, I'm 20 years old. I don't know a lot of things. I'm still learning. And so I honestly think that working with guys at our age is very interesting because not only do I not know a lot of things, but they don't really either, so we're all just figuring it out. The thing about guys that I love the most is that none of us are just teenagers. And so we kind of went into this feeling our way out, together. And it was something that was super exciting. And I think, as I said, again, I'm a storyteller, and I love figuring out brands, and I love figuring out messaging, and I love figuring out social media, all of that. And so a big challenge that I had, I think, as a woman entrepreneur was to really not just talk to my team, but actually talk myself into it almost, that marketing is not a soft side of business, And like this, just because we're not the legal team, just because we're not in finance, it doesn't mean we're less important. Marketing is everything, because how else am I going to describe like very normal looking toolbox to you and the impact of that, And so throughout my year with Fire Project and literally telling our story over and over and over again in these competitions and to people that I meet and in networking events, I've learned that being a woman entrepreneur is really special because we can connect with a lot of different types of people and in a very, I guess, more intense way because I think we just, I don't know, I think they're really, really cool. And I think, like, the more you talk to them, the more interesting it is. I don't know. So, one of the biggest, I think, learning processes I've had so far really is just, like, it's so important to have both hard skills and soft skills. And, yeah, it's important to do that. Also, well, I don't know, I love these guys. They drive me crazy, but I also really like to work with them, Something else about me is that not only am I a woman entrepreneur, I'm also a student entrepreneur. I forget that all the time. I'm not always the most successful student, but it's okay because I love what I do. Something that I learned this year is that sometimes you have to work alone, and sometimes you work in a team. But the thing is, your team is always going to be behind your back. When I was at the CGRD conference, I actually had to go by myself, and I sat at the table and I actually had all the handouts and all of that. I designed and printed them, and I ran the table by myself, and that was very scary, but also very empowering for me because it made me realize that, like, I can do this. But also, like, on Sundays, I sit with my team in the LaunchPad at SU, and I think, wow, I'm very, very lucky to have people around me that believe in this mission and will work with me in my mission. And so I think that with these changing dynamics, it's very cool. It's very cool to just like have the experience of both. And something that as a student entrepreneur, I guess something that's really interesting is that you learn a lot right before you learn in your classroom. I'm currently in PR 315 in Newhouse, and we're learning visual writing. And we literally spent a whole class about, hey, how do you write a social media post? How do you write text for a website? And I was sitting there and I was just like, I already know this. I had to learn this by myself. Like last year, where was the stuff I actually had to do this? So little experiences like that, I think, was so special to me because it made me realize, like, wow, at Thrive, I get to literally practice what I learned in the classroom all the time, like outside of the classroom. Honestly, that's where the real learning goes. And by doing right, doing what you love and doing, like, really being able to practice your skills, your hard skills and your soft skills all the time, I think is very, very special. And I feel extremely lucky to work at Thrive and to really thrive at SU and to just continue telling really incredible stories. They deserve people. So that's a little bit about my presentation. So.
How can we involve to Thrive?
How do you get involved in Thrive?
Yeah, because I thought you bring this idea to here. You probably want the people to join you guys or some like those stuff. So I'm just wondering, do you have any poster or some like those stuff that you can share with us and we can share with the people who we know? And
the first thing you should do.
Yeah.
The first thing you should do is come to our meetings Friday at 4 p.m. in the class on LaunchPad.
Okay. Friday.
The glass box that for the library, you can go from there. Oh, but not this Friday, we're all going on break. The Friday after. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I mentioned a lot of things that are important to being in entrepreneurship. The one that she didn't mention specifically, but it's clearly obvious, is that passion and enthusiasm for what she does. It's so important as an entrepreneur, much more so than if you're working in a corporate somewhere or other. But that's all about the from the heart passion for your project. So yeah, thank you. That's great. Okay. So that was, a company that's just getting on the ground, the things that getting it up off the ground, and what they're doing. So that was a great story. Thank you. And next we have a person who has had some experience in starting a company and now actually teaches others about being an entrepreneur and does some mentoring around companies to getting them up and rolling. So Karen Livingston, she is a New York certified business advisor. She works at the Onondaga Small Business Development Center. I think, do you host at the House of OTC? Is that where your office is? Okay. And they're a great resource for companies that are getting started with, business plans and all that kind of stuff. I refer people to them all the time to help get their businesses going. Karen is an adjunct faculty member in the Entrepreneurship and Emerging Enterprises Department at Syracuse University. So that she teaches these kinds of things. And she also has a background in solar industry. That's the company that she was involved in the past. She holds a position as an SU Blackstone LaunchPad mentor, SU capstone judge, and an orange tank judge. So involved in local and national programs, committees, including a former treasurer and current finance committee member of Nobody York. I don't know what that stands for, but she'll tell us, I'm sure. And she also is a member of the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board industry working groups. So she advises existing and startup businesses on all kinds of topics, I'm guessing, because I know what SBDC does, and including business expansion, succession planning, all those kind of things that are important as you're getting a business started. So with that, I would ask Karen to come up and tell us about her experiences, and thank you. This is what we call.
There you go. It's on the desktop.
Excellent. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Amanda. It's great to see a lot of familiar faces and some new faces here. And so, indeed, at this point, I am actually teaching sustainable enterprise up at the Whitman School of Management. I'm also helping, I got a lot of students here, and also helping entrepreneurs start up businesses and existing businesses. And so, Tammy asked me to come here and kind of this background, see what somebody who's actually been as an entrepreneur in the renewable energy space. And really, I started my career as a CPA. And so this is really kind of what things have been to date, right? So you can cross out success and call it life, whatnot, right? And so when I got into CPA, what are you doing in the solar industry, and now this? And so here's what kind of brought me into this space. I tell students that entrepreneurship tends to not be a linear path. The same thing with those that I mentor. I can't kind of tell them A, B, C, and then you're going to be there, launch that, no problem, good to go. And so what happened with me is I thought, well, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to go into the workforce, I'm going to climb the career ladder. And then what happened is somehow, and it wasn't one instant, I learned about sustainability, about meeting today's needs while being able to also meet the needs of future generations. And whatever it was, this really stuck with me. And in the CPA firm at the time, this wasn't really thought of, right? So all this stuff is kind of on the fringes. Now you've got big four into this and have profit centers around it. But at the time it didn't. And so I needed to find ways to fit this intrinsic need. And so you mentioned NOFA New York. Luckily, my firm encouraged us as part of the professional, we needed to give back. And so we were encouraged to be on board. So I ended up on an organic farming board for New York. And so we have educational and the certification throughout New York State. And from there, all of a sudden, there was all kinds of pivots, right? And so here's my messy line. I'm CPA, great job, great background, trying to meet this intrinsic push to go into sustainability. And I have kind of my first brush with mortality, right? And so I lose a close family member and I say, life or family. And these were big key trendy words at the time. And so I, at the same time, had tried to get solar on our home. First person that we contracted with, took a while, kept telling us there was contract issues, this and that, maybe there was a nice hefty deposit. Come to find out they were bankrupt. And so I ended up taking them to small claims court. They didn't even show up at small claims court, so got the judgment. Then had to make good on that judgment. So I had to show up at their work or at their place and say, I'm here several times. Finally, actually, did not get money back, but I did take equipment from them. Thinking, well, maybe I can sell this. Contract the second person. They're there, they're putting it on, and all of a sudden they come to me and say, oh, we've broken panels, I need you to put it in homeowner's insurance. No, not happening. They get done, systems installed, something doesn't seem right. Come to find out, keep having them come back, they didn't even hook it up right. And I said, at this point, oh boy, I really believe in the solar industry, and my concern is that if people keep having this experience, what's going to happen to this industry? It was already at the time, we were early adopters. It was already always thought of as kind of a science project, right? Still in the fringes. And so I said, well, I can do better than that, and so I did. And so then I decided to switch positions. I actually went to an architecture firm, I feel a co-worker here, which allowed me to be able to mitigate my risk to start the business. So I still had the safety net of having health insurance, of having a regular paycheck, and I was able to make some bold decisions. And so also there, which I didn't realize I was going to learn, I learned more about contracting and bidding large projects. I learned about MWBE, right, minority women-owned business initiatives. I learned about taking values for sustainability and bringing it throughout the company. And so during that, I also built out an MBA. I get out, I'm ready, growth plans, things are humming along. And the second brush with mortality is what kind of actually brought me out of it, unfortunately, is that I had a relative end up with a diagnosis of a potentially fatal problem, and I became the primary carer. And so that's what ended kind of and had me wrap it up, and I went into teaching and helping others, right? And so down my life path, it's kind of been all over. But I tell entrepreneurs, I tell students, don't expect to kind of leave. You may go out, have all kinds of experiences, I think when they look at it, they're a very smaller percentage that actually come out of school, go right into entrepreneurship. And this large bucket, 25 to 35, they go out, gain experience, and get into entrepreneurship. And so I accidentally became, to me, I felt like I accidentally became an entrepreneur. I was thinking I was going out climbing this corporate ladder. Instead, what kind of happened is I fell into entrepreneurship. And students started asking me, how did this happen? You always know you wanted to be an entrepreneur. And one of the big things they asked me is, did you know about, what were we like as a kid? And I said, well, I don't know. They do a lot of research about it. Can you make an entrepreneur? Are you born an entrepreneur? Is it a bit of both? And it feels like the research out there conflicts. However, so what I can say is this is from my experience. When they started asking me about this, and I looked back and said, well, what about this nature piece? Was I really predisposed to do this? I started thinking about things like, oh, I was that kid where those in my neighborhood in grade school wanted to play house, and I came up with something called mergers and acquisitions. I have no idea to the paper. I came up with it. We had office buildings. We had memos. I guess maybe there was something, some predisposition that I don't know where it came from because I don't think my parents ever mentioned those two words together. So then I also remember doing small businesses, like cutting out all kinds of interests and coming up with poetry and getting people together and running a newspaper company. We were trying to go and sell to neighbors and to family. So I suppose, yes, if I look back on it, there was a bit of nature as far as predisposition. But I think what it plays even bigger into is this, can you actually become an entrepreneur otherwise, this nurture piece. And it always, I always had an inkling about this, but it didn't really come to fruition thinking about this a little bit more closely when I read a book by Adam Grant. He's a Wharton professor. He wrote Originals, Nonconformists, and How They Move the World. Right? And what he was talking about was the ability to have this broad and deep experience. And I realized this is what I was been drawing. So I have a deep experience in business, right? I've been in, positions, I've been a CPA, I've got my MBA, and so I've got deep experience there. But what I didn't realize, and what I always draw on when I'm working with entrepreneurs, whether they're asking about pivoting, whether they're asking about business models, is this broad experience. And so, especially when you have broad experience about the arts, anything that are leisure activities, all of a sudden you start thinking about things with a much more open mind. And so many more things actually bubble up to the top and allow you to kind of be this entrepreneur. And so for me, I can tell you that both nature and nurture really plays a role. And also pure luck. Good and bad luck, right? And some of you can kind of trace back and you can, oh, I look back 2020 vision, right? I can see kind of how this built up and how it became. And other times you just can't. And so I didn't mention that is the DNA of an entrepreneur. Ernst & Young EY came out with that a couple of years ago. And certainly it's something, as you look around as an entrepreneur, there are a lot of things that just resonate. And so coming at this kind of more as a faculty angle and somebody that has been in business and then out, when Cindy said, okay, what are the challenges that are out there that have been faced? There's two things that I kind of came up with. Thinking about entrepreneurs always facing uncertainty. And so taking an action on an idea and being comfortable with uncertainty. I have clients who, and I could have, analyzed something to that, right? But it comes to a point where you figure out whether or not you're able to take on that risk at that point in life. And if you're ready to kind of move forward with it. Because you can fail by not doing something, right? So not doing something truly is a choice. And I've been told, you kind of hear this a lot, the greatest regrets for people right? Not things that they made a mistake at, things that they did, they're things that they didn't do, right? Things that they wish they had tried. And so I certainly, having been through taking risks and kind of come out the other end okay, I really work with people to kind of have an understanding of being able to take this action for them, right? And not the, you know, what ifs, because entrepreneurs can really struggle. And then the other one is dealing with constraints. We were on a phone call the other day, say, oh, let's, you know, get together, let's see what we're going to do for presentations today. And we talk about challenges. I think even you said, oh my God, I talk about challenges. It's going to be a laundry list, you know, that we'll never get through. And it's true, challenges don't ever stop, they just change, right? And so a couple of examples I came up with is when I got into solar, what I didn't realize is that NYSERDA, who's a New York government agency, right, oversees the incentives for solar. What I didn't realize is how slow they were. And so we had to put all our specs together. We had to turn them into this agency. And sometimes I was waiting over 4 months for approval. And I couldn't even make a purchase of panels, any of my balance of equipment stuff, until I got their approval. And not only that, panels were being remanufactured in new models were coming online so fast that by the time I got the approval, I couldn't get the panel, then I had to put in another request to update it, right? And so that was certainly a challenge that I didn't expect, that I was kind of forced to deal with as far as solar industry. And then I always hear, you know, financials, and we talk about bootstrapping, and we talk about, you know, where do I get financing? That's always a challenge that is at the top of the list for entrepreneurs. And the other one is a little different, and one of them is called mental models, right? So those biases that we hold and we kind of carry around with us, those assumptions, those values, and being aware that we hold those. And I think I was talking with Amanda, and I was asking her, and I said, you know, does Thrive, have they been really good at recognizing that you have mental models of how things are and culture in the U.S., where you're going to developing countries, and you have to be really cognizant that they have a different culture, and what you're bringing to them actually fits where you're going. So you're being a partner and not paternalistic, right? And so there are all kinds of constraints, and so it is a commonality among them. So have faith, you know, those who deal with a problem, and then all of a sudden think they're all set, and then all of a sudden they come back to me and say, oh my God, you know, I have another problem. Yes, yeah, you know, it happens. And then the final thing they asked me, I said, well, what about lessons learned? I said, well, here's one of the keys that I tell my students and that I really hold hard is the difference between problems and predictions. And so to be able to identify this, you can start figuring out what you need to do. So a problem will actually yield to creative thinking and action. And it might take a lot of time. It might take quite a bit of workforce or whatnot to be able to do it, but it will yield it. And opposed to that, you have predictions, right? And those we end up having to develop a coping mechanism because there's something that has to be observed. And so I think Linda is very good at telling students and entrepreneurs, don't try and boil the ocean. When you're looking and figuring out, you know, do I have a problem that I can tackle? Making sure that, okay, I've identified that I do have a problem, I want to do it. Is it something, and at what rate can you actually impact that, right? And really thinking at the scale that you can have impact. And the other thing that I have for lessons learned is managing risk and making bold choices. I mean, I was a CPA. I still have that conservative, risk-averse side to me. But I can tell you, after being an entrepreneur once, I do make bold choices. And I can tell you that what I realized is that we as entrepreneurs don't like risk more than others, although I think that's kind of a stereotype. We know how to look at them and work at that problem until we reduce it to an acceptable risk for us. Right? And if you kind of look across your whole life, you'll find that actually what really happens is almost like a financial portfolio. You kind of have this set risk But across life, you are conservative a little bit more and a little bit riskier than others. So when I said, well, I went to a job and I was able to make bolder choices because I had that safety net, that would have been one of these things where I knew what my capacity for risk was. And that's how I kind of balanced that. So I do encourage you to kind of think about that broadly and make those bold choices, because there are some really big things that need to happen in this world, and we need entrepreneurs to help. Thank you.
So I'm learning from everybody here that couple of takeaways I got of parents is that two more things that are really useful if you're going to be an entrepreneur, and that is courage and tenacity. So the guts to go try it, and when it fails, just do it again. So anyway, that was my quick little. So and I don't know if we have anything that we should be doing. We're introducing you a little bit. So, and now we have someone who has been at this that I know of personally. So I know you've been in a couple of different companies that you got to the point where they can now sell it off, and then they did it again, which is great. And the last one brought them back home to Syracuse. I think you've been out in California on the West Coast for a while. But this is Amy Casper, and she is the director of supply chain for Ephesus Lighting. You guys may have heard of Ephesus. They've been in a lot of the headlines and all that for all the cool things they're doing with their LED lighting, including the Super Bowl and so those kind of things. So, and there it is, right? That's your picture. So Amy brings over 30 years of proven experience to Ephesus and is a practice leader in most everything technical. Amy was an integral part of logistics and sustainability at Lockheed Martin and an IT manager at Wafer Tech, a $1 billion semiconductor facility, and now she's building on those strengths in operations and facilities, supply chain management, and sourcing and sales to build and lead a reliable company that delivers the promise of a brighter future for you and your community. So another, kind of, I guess LED lighting is becoming more the norm, but they jumped into it early and have created some pretty cool products that have a lot of interesting capabilities with natural intelligence.
Well, I can really relate to what Amanda started with, that sometimes you get the information you need, in the class after you've gone through the experience. And Karen, that's exactly what I felt like when I went through or listened to your presentation, because so many of the topics that you spoke about are things that we lived through, and I can't always say that I was very cognizant of what I was going through at the time, but we nailed some things. I hope I won't repeat too much here. So my name's Amy Casper. I have been back to Syracuse since 2015 with my husband. We actually came home to be with family. So we started the business after being here for 2 years, and not really intending to do that. So retired from Wafer Tech, a startup company out on the West Coast, and came back here to spend more time with family. And one of those pivots was for me being with my in-laws and my parents in the same week and spending a lot of time with them. And in the same week, it was just the right message. They asked me when I was going to go find another job. It was really nice to be back and to be with them, but they didn't really need me yet. So that's what got me back to work. So what is the... There we go. So I'm going to try to hit on these themes. I'll probably jump around a little bit because I heard some things that maybe I can correlate to a little bit better. But I will try to give you an idea of what my experience has been, what the journey is, the business approach that we took Whether it was right or wrong, it got us where we are today. And I'm going to highlight successes and failures. Karen likes to talk about pivots. I think the failures are some of the best learnings, at least that I had. The New York connection, why it was so great to do business here, and lessons learned. Oops, the other arrow. Okay, so I talked a little bit about my background. Before Eton, or before Ephesus Eton, I was at Lockheed Martin. That was the job that I took when my parents kicked me out of the house, basically. And I did something different there. I did service and documentation systems and training systems for the military, which was very different than any of the experience that I had. I came from WaferTech, which was the billion-dollar startup out on the West Coast. And there I put in the systems, the SAP systems, business systems, manufacturing systems, and ran that group. Came from Motorola, where we were doing the technology design, making the chips for the telephones, but we were also installing new systems, SAP. And, I started working on SAP, so I'm the older person in the room, when they had it on a mainframe. So, it was so long ago, you probably have not even had that experience through school. But when I look at my experience, and I go back and I think about what Karen said, what I found that drew me to these jobs, to these businesses, was doing something new. It was always new technology, and it was always something nobody else had done. And I think that's an important aspect of being an entrepreneur, because you have to be able to go out in front and make the path, because it's not there yet. A little bit about Ephesus. So we were founded in 2010. My husband had worked at Lockheed Martin and decided that wasn't for him. I joined him in 2011 when he was draining our savings account. And I wanted to make sure that I understood where our retirement was going. So, we hired people not from the lighting industry. We hired people that had solid state experience. So we came from semiconductors. We came from chip companies. So we knew what it was to make a diode. We knew, how to process those. We knew, the electronics of that. We didn't know light. We came from solid state components. We became the technology leader for LED sports lighting, and we'll see a little bit about how we got there. And we learned along the way that you can't just be a light, you can't just be a product, although it's a really hard thing to do, to raise the capital, to keep the engine running, to be able to make product. It's really important, but you got to look beyond that. Now that the product's out in the market and you have a solid state piece of equipment there's so much more you can do. And we're selling the system. We're selling the system so that the fans can enjoy the game, so that the venue operators can save money, but also so that they can use new technology in their system, so that they can use the electronics in our fixtures to interface with their POS system and have somebody order a beer and deliver it to your seat, because they're using our technology that we've built into the product. Oops, the other arrow. All right. So, Amanda, you talked about all the cool things that you did as marketing. Don't judge me. This is an engineering slant on, this was our logo. This little Ephesus technology thing up there. And she's crazy in years, because that's what we define as PowerPoint time. But the point here is just where the market was. So I said that we started in 2010. And if you look at where that is on the graph, what we were recognizing in 2010 is that LED was starting to come on board, but it was projected to take over conventional lighting. So what we were doing is recognizing the opportunity. How do we get into this? We know how to make an LED, we know how to manage the heat, we know, how to put it on a heat sink that's going to thermally protect it. We know the electronics. How do we apply that to the marketplace? Well, in 2010 and 2011, really what was going on in the market were streetlights. Okay, well, here's this little bitty company. We're not going to be able to go after that. And we did a lot of failure things. This is where we did a lot of failure. how do we apply this technology? How do we get it to something that's going to work, that's going to make money? I mean, we looked at pond lights, we looked at chicken coop lights, we looked at anything that wasn't really covered in the marketplace, and we stumbled across, with good luck, sports lighting. The next thing that I think that we took an approach is we wanted to commercialize that. We never lost sight. I never lost sight because it was my savings. You know, it's not just fun to work in the lab. And you know, I was working with a bunch of engineers. I was the only business person in the office at the time that was really concerned about making payroll and paying for the inventory and making sure that you know, we're going to get something out there to the market. So you know, we really pushed ourselves to find a way to commercialize what we were doing. It wasn't just about creating something cool. And then we got to the market with sports lights. It wasn't perfect. We did the War Memorial as our first sports lighting project. We found UL certification the day that we're delivering those lights. It's hard about challenges. So, you know, we had to backpedal and make things work and work with the folks that were certifying us and get through that. There are roadblocks that are in the way, but that kind of stuff happens. And the customers, you know, already have those lights down and they're waiting for you to put the new ones up, and they don't do that sticker product. So, you know, it was really important to get to market. It was really important to take some risk. You know, some calculated risk. You know, it wasn't anything that we did there wasn't illegal or bad business practice, but we took the risk that we were going to build a product before we had that piece of paper. And in the end, we had to make those two things come together, get the sticker on the product, and make the delivery. So the history about being first to market. You know, the first technology that we did wasn't a sports light. It was this high output light that we use for warehouses. We have some here at the CRE. But it was the brightest light in the market when we introduced it. And that's really important because we introduced it through a certification design light consortium. And that's where customers go to look and see the spreadsheet, who's got the brightest light, what's the form factor, you know, what's the energy saving. And it was really important to do that first. The first venue is the War Memorial, and you know, this is another place where we had to take some risk and some challenge. The people that were selling us the LEDs, the company in the U.S. that was selling us the LEDs, told us you can't possibly light that venue at 60 feet with our product. It's not going to work. You're gonna blow the product up. It's not going to work. And it was so much fun to come back with them 6 months after it was installed and say, look, here's what we do with your product. We understand how to manage the heat. We understood how to manage the electronics because we had that previous experience in semiconductors. Not because we need lighting, not because we really had, you know, maybe picked the right product as far as the LEDs, but because we had sound engineering for what we were doing. In 2013, we did the first NCAA basketball venue, which was pretty exciting. In 2014, we did the first NCAA stadium with solid state, so this was deep and it was outdoor. And then in 2015, we did the Super Bowl. So those lights went in 2014, but the first Super Bowl was played in 2015. And there's a lot of stories I could tell about what got us to that project as well, but there were failures along the way, and there were risks that we took to redesign the whole power supply system. You know, got the order, well, we had a verbal award in March, and we redesigned the power supply, the power system, between March and July when we got the official PO. And we took a lot of risk to do that. There's a lot of testing that's involved. And we delivered the system August 15th. So, you know, you have to pre-order the parts, you have to invest in the inventory, and there's risk that goes along with taking those steps. And then in 2016, we did the first NASCAR. And this is where we're starting to change our product. So this is where we're starting to introduce the Internet of Things and be able to talk about connectivity within that whole environment. So it's getting to be bigger than lights, and that's really where the story is going as we move forward. So Amanda talked about, how important the marketing is, and I think we have the same dynamic here, is that, we started out as Ephesus to offer the future, innovate something and try to commercialize it. You can't just ignore the, innovation by itself is great if you have unending capital, but when you're trying to get a product to market, you have to offer that future, pulling some key targets, whether they're stakeholders. So for us, it was not just the venue operators, but working with ESPN and NBC and the guys that are in the fields trying to film the play and really get them invested. And that's really what helped us to message that success, get them involved as a stakeholder, message the success, create the brand awareness by making that sale, that Super Bowl, and then start the cycle again. Because with technology, with solid state lighting, it never ends. You're constantly obsoleting what you're doing. So what we did for Ephesus as far as growth has been, I took the numbers off of here because our new parent company doesn't like me to share the actual numbers. We doubled our revenue pretty much every year since the start. And, it's back to that cycle. We brought in 2012, we innovated, got the message out, and used that message to sell the next, and kind of a grassroots campaign to sell the next 30 venues. So we just simply sent them a letter with a picture and said, look what we did at the War Memorial. Those 20 lights like this. And we got 6 jobs out of that. So, it wasn't anything that was rocket science, but it was that same wheel, And then 2014, I talked about installing University of Phoenix, Super Bowl in 15. And there's so many customers and venues now. It's embarrassing. I had to go back and remind myself who they were for those first ones because it's so exciting. The orders come in now, and it's hard to keep up with who we're selling to. So as far as our strategy, I think this is kind of a repeat. So, we want to push the technology. We have to have the innovation and excellence in the technology and the product design, but we have always pushed the product and the technology and taken risks almost always before it's ready. Because when you're trying to get something new into the market, you can't wait to have it completely tested. Your competitors are going to come blow you away. So sometimes you have to take those calculated risks to get something out in the market, and then make sure that you innovate. Make sure that you build on those successes and that you fix the problems and you enhance the product, but you can't wait till it's absolutely perfect. We focused on the fan experience, player performance, and broadcasting requirements. So that's how we, got the credibility in the marketplace. And then, we stimulated the market. There was no sports lighting market. There wouldn't be sports lighting in, I don't think, today if we hadn't done it in 2014. Because the biggest competitor, Maxwell Lighting, was telling the market that LED's 5 years away. LED's 5 years away. You can't do it. LED's 5 years away. And it was the good fortune to break down, a couple of customers that really wanted to have a technology edge for that first Super Bowl and be first to market with LED and take the calculated risk with us that really got us to the marketplace first. And we were the first company that had solid state lighting in a professional venue. And they're still talking about how it's 5 years away. So as far as as far as the New York connection, I think what's been very important to me here is a couple of things. One, we came back to New York after being away for 25-ish years. So I didn't have any business contacts here. I left here as a student. I was a college graduate when I moved away from the state of New York. And my business career happened in other places. And every time we chased technology around the country, we kind of restart those business relationships. So I've had that experience of having to start over, like a student all the time. You know, you're always starting over with relationships. But when you're starting a business, it's really hard to not have, you know, not know who the, you know, the transportation company is, or the, you know, who do you buy office products from, or who do you source your materials from, because you don't have those local connections. And I think the thing that helps us the most are all the services that are in New York. New York is just full of services, and you know, 3 of my guardian angels are sitting in this room. You know, the tech garden and the COE, you know, giving us access to other people in the state of New York and helping us understand what's available has really just propelled the business. And coming from outside of New York State to start that business, it's really important. So wherever you land, you know, whatever state you go to or country to start your business, look out for those local resources, because I'm sure they're in every community. They're not going to be as good as what we have here, but I'm sure they're there. And I think it's really important to understand. The other aspect of why this business is meaningful to me is that, you know, it's through this commercial business that we're able to have a company that hires people, that gives people jobs and employment in my hometown. And that's really an aspect of what's important to me as an entrepreneur and a business person here in Syracuse. And then so what didn't work? There was another couple of things. You know, the whole minority woman-owned business thing didn't do diddly squat for me.
Amy, how long did it take you to get that?
It took me 3 years to get it, and it distracted me so much from the business. I spent more time pulling together documents that nobody wanted to deal with or respond to. It was a waste of time. And maybe it would be, you know, you think it would be great for lighting because there's college campuses in the state of New York. There's businesses in the state of New York. You think that they would want to take advantage of the local businesses that are certified in New York. And maybe it'll get better, maybe it'll be a less cumbersome process in the future, but that was one of those misses. I did not, unfortunately, get value out of that. So it's just, and the point there is not that that's such a bad process, it's just be careful where you spend your time, because you don't have a lot of it. You know, you're so overwhelmed with keeping the business going and doing just the blocking and tackling and all the aspects of starting up a new business. There's some stuff you have to ignore. And we did. We focused on the engineering and we focused on the marketing. And we said, well, when we're successful, we'll worry about putting business systems in. We're going to work in Excel and we're going to buy the engineering tools that are required. We're not going to deal with all this business system stuff or, you know, anything that keeps us from making a sale or making a product. And we're still putting business systems in. Thank goodness for Eaton, who brought us out in the last 2 years. You know, they have the deep pockets to help with business systems, but it's been a 2-year process and we're not done yet. So if we had distracted ourselves with some of that stuff early on, I don't think we would have gone to market. And then the transition here is just, you know, we've been very fortunate to win a lot of awards, spent a lot of time putting patents in place, because in technology, this is a lot about boxing out your competition in competitive bids. So we want to make sure that we have the only technology that can be spec'd. So this is not about how many plaques we can get on the wall as far as patents or our engineers doing things that make them excited and doing research projects, but it's about getting things into patents that back up the competitors. Sooner or later, Musco's going to figure out that it's not 5 years till we get to LED lighting. And then this is, again, to the marketing piece, that is so important. And, you know, I was in an office of not only mostly men, but really engineers. And so they didn't value marketing aspect of what we had to do. If you don't market it, you can't sell it. It doesn't sell itself. And I think that was a big lessons learned for all of us in the company. It's that you have to do those things. You have to evangelize your technology. You have to challenge we had to challenge the status quo, that, you know, the technology is really ready. We had to educate our customers. And and we really had to do it through marketing. So I think this is my lessons learned slide. So I'm from Baldwinsville. I said Syracuse, but I'm really from Beeville. And this is pretty exciting that we were able to light the football stadium out there. I didn't go to high school there, but my husband did. And it's just exciting to see this. And I just want to end with the lessons learned in summary. So always, always, always think about commercializing. Don't ever forget that that's what you're trying to do, because it doesn't matter if you have a cool product. If you can't pay the bills, you're not in business. I say bring smart people into the company, into the entity. I am clearly not the best public speaker. It's not my favorite thing to do. We have people that do this all the time in my company because they do a much better job. But we also have people that do the marketing, because that's not a strength. We brought in people that do the business. I'm no longer the CEO. I'm the supply chain guru, because we have other people that are doing all those functions that are done better. And you really gotta recognize that when you need it. You can't do everything yourself. And then recognize the evolution of the company, and don't stand in the way of progress. So, to sell the company, you're going to take a different role. You're going to have to do something different. You can't be the person that's in charge and that's running everything. So you got to recognize when things are changing and be able to adapt. And then, last but not least, you can change the market with a great idea. We did.
So, Amy, can you tell us a little bit about the job growth that the company has experienced over its trajectory? How has that changed from two?
We're at 55 locally, and we have a bunch of support staff down in each two cities where is our division. So there's another 10 or 12 that indirectly support our business. That as much as we can, we hold those functions up to Syracuse, and we don't try to do them here. And then we have, I think, 8 dedicated salespeople that are still on our payroll that work remotely.
Plus, you hire other firms to do manufacturing, right?
We do. So we currently contract manufacture in Ogdensburg, up in New York. And as part of Eaton, new products are getting introduced to factories in the U.S. They're not New York, which I'm not so happy about, but they are U.S.-based jobs, which is terrific. So new technology, new products are going into the Eaton factories.
I thought you mentioned P-Tech. I'm not too familiar with it. It seemed like that was building on your giving back to the community. I assume.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, we have a great program with interns and P-Tech. So we spend a lot of time with Chou, who runs our intern program. We had 55 people in the office and plus 12 interns, 14 interns this summer. So, that's our pool that we bring in to hire into the business. So we actively recruit interns, and we participate with P-Tech, which we mentor students. We usually do one or two activities in our office where they come in and they build a gum drop bridge or do something that's engineering focused and mentor them through the engineering activities. And Chou actually won the Mentor of the Year, I think, this past year because he's so active with P-Tech. And it's a great opportunity. It's really one of those things that's hard to make time for, but our employees love it. The engineers love it. They love the opportunity to give back to the community, and they like to, help encourage young engineers.
That's City of Syracuse.
City of Syracuse. Yeah, that's great.
So I have a question for Thrive. So I have a geeky question. So the Spark box. It's obviously it delivers extraordinary value in Nepal. the geeky question is actually about like the amount of energy that's stored in the batteries. So there's a solar panel, there's a battery, and it's powering the lights. Would the spark box be useful, say, in Puerto Rico right now? Is there, how much power is in there? You know, how much light for how many hours? Is that something that could be deployed in, you know, a response to Puerto Rico?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to turn this over.
So in regards to your question, I think absolutely it can be applied to Puerto Rico. It can be applied to Houston. Of course, when we first started, as Amanda mentioned, we applied it in Nepal after the earthquake. So I personally know that it works out there. You know, when it's like we're in a village where it's like a 10-hour walk from civilization. And also the power scale is also very adaptable because, you know, we're talking anywhere from 500 watt battery to 1,000 watt batteries. So it's the same concept. And instead of delivering this kind of product out there, we actually just build an education platform around it so people know that this is available. You don't have to be, you know, well off to have solar energy work for you. It can work at lowest scales to the highest scales. So, yeah.
Started off as an idea of the spark system as a box, but then honestly, we took the box out completely in a lot of the regions that we've worked in Nepal, and we encourage this type of scalability and adaptability. And one of the, like what I mentioned in my presentation is that because it's all locally sourced, it's highly adaptable. And so we have been kind of talking about, you know, expansion and geographical expansion. So that would be something really interesting to do.
You want to wrap things up or?
So I want to thank Cindy. I can't read this. I offer if people are interested. I just like have to show a video or two related to Ephesus. You have to see this. So if you're interested, so the funny thing is, what do we have here? Yeah. So I did a search on, because I know this video I wanted to bring up. So it's Presley scores lights flash. So I just searched on this. And the funny thing about this is, so this is the thing from the Vikings that I wanted to show. But then here is, I searched on this. So I gave a presentation a couple of weeks ago. And I'm just going to flip through this because it has some images. So I showed the story of Joe and Amy. And this just illustrates what Amy said. They started in 2010. This was their first light in 2011. This is actually, they were making all these kinds of lights. That's Joe in 2012. They got an award from us that was facilitated by Linda. This is the War Memorial of their first venue downtown. And then, remember, so they did the War Memorial in fall of 2012. And then there was the Super Bowl in the Superdome in New Orleans in 2013. And remember, that's when the lights went out in the third quarter, and there was a 30-minute delay in the game. And it's because of the lighting technology that it's a particular kind of light that essentially there's a spark in it. And if you lose the spark, it has to cool down so you can light the spark again. So the next day, in the local Syracuse paper, there was an article, Syracuse's bright idea could have saved the Super Bowl. Lights at the War Memorial avoid long game delays. So one of the features about LEDs is if they go off, they'll turn right back on. So my understanding is actually this story in the local paper got the attention of NFL Stadium. So then the next thing we knew is in May, we got a call from our friends at Ephesus, and they said, could we come and put a new light on the roof of this building? So that's the light. There it is in a close-up. And this is May 5th. That's the light shining, and that's the shining of a single light on the ground in front of the building. And that's Joe and Amy and Jeff Schuster, and they were really happy. But they didn't tell us why. All we knew is they had a new fixture and they were testing it out. And that was the fixture that went into the University of Phoenix Stadium.
And actually had the old power supply on it.
Oh, it had.
So the new one was developed shortly after.
So they graduated from the technology from the Clean Tech Center, and then they installed, and you said August 15, 2014, and that's the stadium that hosted the Super Bowl in 2015. That was the crazy Super Bowl that the Patriots snatched a victory out of the jaws of defeat when the Seahawks were about to score a touchdown to win the game, and they intercepted it. It's the craziest thing. They got the greatest running back, and they threw a pass, and the Patriots intercepted, and the Patriots won. So that's also the Super Bowl that's known for Katy Perry. And the thing about Katy Perry is, so this again, it's the LED lights. There was a new fan experience, never before at a Super Bowl, at halftime. And
what if home security was different? What if it looked different?
So this is the opening of the halftime.
Welcome you to the Pepsi Super Bowl 49 halftime show.
It's totally dark. The lights are off. It's a theater. It's a spotlight on it. And never before done in a Super Bowl to have a show like this. And when she comes out and the spotlight is on her, again, it's a fan experience, a theater that you just have never seen before. And it's because they had the confidence that they could turn the lights back on. So then,
Go back in the browser.
I lost it. I'll go back from here. Okay, thanks. Okay, so then here's my last, this is the thing. So when you did the University of Phoenix Stadium, traditionally sports stadiums had banks of lights. And the banks of lights, you'd have like a switch, on, off. So University of Phoenix Stadium, the big deal was you can turn them on and off. But now, as Amy said, now each light is an Internet of Things device. So if you have control of every light, you can make it seamless. So this is the US Bank Stadium. This will host the Super Bowl in February. This is in Minnesota. So this is the first preseason game last year. And it's the first touchdown that was scored in the new stadium. And the announcers had no idea what was coming.
I say practice squad. I say they keep 8 defensive linemen and Johnson goes to the practice squad. As Sorensen goes back to pass, don't left off Presley, 25-20, outside of the 15, takes a tackle, 10-5, leaps for the end zone, touchdown Vikings! That touchdown was so exciting, it dimmed the lights at US Bank Stadium.
Wow, I mean, this is, when you talk about this being at night ball, the viral, I mean, it's just I'm amazed, I'm speechless almost with the dimming of the lights and the purple and the lights that go off on the upstairs. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from the touchdown.
So the one last one since I have it here. So this is baseball. This is PNC Field in Pittsburgh. So this is after a home run. After a home run. You gotta watch, look at the lights. You'll see them briefly.
Blanco, that's deep to right center, and there it goes! Well, that'll plug in. Second home run for Blanco.
There. So you've never seen that. So that's so.
I just want to add, if you want to see their lights, if you want to see their lights at work downtown, the Barclays Damon building is lit up with Ephesus lights. It can change colors, it can change patterns, it can change pulse. On Go Red for Women Day, it beats like a red heart.
You can order a drink.
On Syracuse game days, orange and blue chase each other around the building. And when you worked with the building owner to install those lights, and we said, what is your dream? Why do you want to do this? He said, with your controls, I want, and this story is so touching to me, I want a child in the Golisano Children's Hospital the night before surgery, and you'll remember this, to be able to sit there on their iPad and say, my favorite color is aqua, and to be able to play with those lights, change the lights from the hospital bed the day before they have cancer surgery.
Cool.
And I thought, that's magic, David. Yeah. So you can see the lights in action downtown.
So thanks again. Thanks to our speakers. And thanks to all of you for joining us. We've got some refreshments outside. You should join us for that.